So your shampoo bottles are ugly, or maybe not. Maybe they're really pretty, but you just haven't gotten any labels on them yet. I'm sharing 4 creative ways for you to get your shampoo bottles labeled. They're all 100% waterproof, and I'm saving my best for last, so stick around till the end. Okay, so starting with my least favorite idea, this is also the simplest idea. You just take some chalkboard labels, which I found at the dollar store, but you can find them pretty much anywhere. I will link some options below. And you use a white gel pen to write your words on it. And I always start with the word conditioner because that's the longest word between shampoo, conditioner, and body wash. So that helps me determine how big I need my font to be. The reason I don't prefer this method is just because I don't like how untidy my own handwriting is. But if you like the look of your handwriting, then this might be a good option for you. Now, the one thing I didn't show on the video, but you will need to do if you want it to be waterproof, is you will need to get a laminating sheet, which I also have linked below, and apply that to your labels before you cut them out to make it look the best in the end so that they're the same shape as your actual labels. And the second idea we're going to move on to is a little different, something you probably haven't seen before. I'm taking some wooden beads. These are probably 8 to 10 millimeter wooden beads. I'm using an acrylic black marker to paint them. It's the same thing as just using paint. You could use paint and a paintbrush if you want to. I just use the marker because it's a little bit easier to have less mess. Then you're going to need some jewelry wire that is 18 gauge. Probably 18 to 20 gauge will work just fine for this. And what we're going to do is make little jewelry beads out of these. And the black is just my color preference for the beads. So you could really paint them any color you want to, which is what makes it kind of creative and cool as an option. You get the choice of whether you want your little beads to, match your shower style or your personal style. And so what I'm going to do is take each little bead and I'm going to cut off a length of wire that will form a loop at the top and then go down through the middle of the bead and be able to be kind of twisted into a spiral at the bottom, which makes it a really kind of decorative end. You will need some jewelry tools. You can do a lot of this without the tools, but it is more challenging and definitely can hurt your fingers a little bit. So if you like to do something like this, I do recommend having at least a pair of wire cutters because you'll ruin your scissors trying to cut through wire of this gauge. A pair of wire cutters and at least a pair of pliers that you can make the bends, the initial bends of the wire. And to make the loop, you can just wrap the loop around anything that's small enough, the tip of a pencil or something like that. I actually have the jewelry tools, so it works out well. But if you don't do jewelry, you can get by without them. And then I'm just pressing on the wire down to the bead. I know I went a little off screen here. While I use my other hand to wrap it around itself to form like a little spiral on the bottom. You can do this with just creating a second loop on the bottom if you wanted to. There's all kinds of ways you could finish the bottom of this bead. But I kind of liked the spiral look. It keeps it nice and tidy looking. So I'm just tightening up the very end of that because the one thing you don't want in wire work is you don't want the little end to poke into anybody's skin. So you always want to tuck that end in. And then I'm just taking my gel pen again and writing an S on it. So each bead is going to have one letter. So I have an S for shampoo, a C for conditioner, and a W for wash, which is what I use for body wash. So I will wrap up all 3 of those. And then what we're going to do is take another length of wire that we think will go around the neck of the bottle fairly easily and not hang down too far to create an obstruction or an extra width to the bottle. We're just going to cut that off. And this is the same wire that we use to go through the beads. We're going to cut off a little section of that. And then I am just going to use the neck of the actual bottle to kind of help round that wire out for me. Then we're just going to snip it off right there so it forms a ring. Snip off both sides. And we'll just kind of get those two ends to meet each other. Now we're going to take a much thinner wire. This is like a 24 gauge wire, and snip off a small section. It's not a predetermined length. It's probably a couple of inches. And then we're going to take it and wrap that 24 gauge wire round and round our thicker wire on both sides of the cut to basically glue those two ends together. We're just going to kind of fasten them to each other by wrapping round and round and round. And you have to kind of squeeze the wire together as you go, and squeeze it onto the thicker wire at the same time so that it doesn't come off. So that's all I'm doing here, is just wrapping it round and round and round. And then when you get to the end, you will snip off that pointy, sharp little end, and then use your wire cutters to tuck that back in a little bit again. And then you can put your bead on it and slip it right over the top of the bottle. And then each one of your beautiful little bottles has a piece of jewelry. And I think this looks really pretty. If you want to make these completely waterproof, you would take some Mod Podge or some sealant and spray those beads before you put them on the wire. I think these look so pretty. If you like these bottles without the words on them, I have them available in packs of 4 on my website, which I'll have linked below for you. By the way, if you love the idea of having these labeled shampoo bottles that are waterproof in your shower, but you just don't feel like going through the hassle, I've got the solution for you. That's exactly why I sell pre-labeled. Really, they're printed. They're not even labeled. This is printed directly on the bottle. Shampoo and conditioner and body wash bottles on my website. I will link it down below and you can check them out at your leisure. Now let's get back to the video. Okay, this third idea is super easy. If you already use resin to make things, then you'll be familiar with the process. If not, then just make sure you have the right PPE. You'll want to wear gloves, though you don't see me wearing gloves here. And I'm using UV resin, which makes this a really fast project. You can also use 2-part epoxy resin, and typically that's actually what I would do instead of UV, but I found this to be the fastest way to make little letters. So you would just take some of your resin and mix it up with a little bit of glitter or whatever you like, some color, put it under the UV lamp. Make sure you get all of your letters. You didn't see me do it on screen, but I did make sure to get all of my letters. Then you will flip it over and use your UV light on the back. Make sure your mold is sort of semi-clear or clear so the light will work through it. And then when they're finished, you can demold them and they look so beautiful. Over the next couple of days, they'll be hard as rocks, but when they first come out, they're soft enough that you can use these little hand drills to drill a hole through them. And we're going to attach them to the bottles in a similar fashion that we did the little beads. We're going to put, you didn't see me do it, but I put a little jump ring through the top of each letter. And now we're just going to take some of that stretchy cord that you can buy for jewelry making. We'll just take a little piece and measure it out to where we think we want our letter to hang. Cut that, put the letter on it, and hang those around each bottle. I think these came out so beautiful. Again, like little jewelry, but just really, really pretty. And here's what they would look like in your shower with the little letters hanging on them. Okay, this last idea is my all-time favorite. I have done this in the past, but if you have a Cricut machine, then you are familiar with how to use Cricut Design Space. I just open up a text box, choose my font, and type in my word shampoo and then duplicate that. Now the important thing is to start with conditioner. Always start with conditioner if you want your lettering to be the same size. So I sized out the conditioner based on the size I have on my bottle to put lettering, and then just duplicated that one into the size for the shampoo and body wash. And then I chose, you'll see I have this really kind of textured vinyl that I'm working with. So I chose permanent vinyl premium, and that worked really well with the regular blade and only one cut. So I'm cutting it's sort of a bronzy. And when you see it a little closer, you'll see it's kind of textured. I think it's called brushed. And I will link this also for you below. They didn't have the exact roll that I have, but they have a couple of sheet rolls that are, this color is included in. And so I just cut out those letters. You can see a little bit of that texture. And now I'm just peeling it off of my mat. And we will cut them into the individual words. And I found this, I edited it out of the video, but I first tried doing this with the standard transfer tape, and that did not work. So if you use this textured or brushed vinyl, you will want to use strong grip transfer tape. That did work, the strong grip. So make sure that you're using that. If you use any of these like textured or glitter or any of these vinyls that have some extra bumpiness to them. This worked perfectly though, and it came off of the letters really nice too, which I was actually surprised about. So we're just burnishing on both the front and the back for each word, and then I had just restuck them to some backing of the transfer tape, so I didn't have to worry about them sticking to my desk. I kind of eyeballed if it was going to fit on there, and then you're just going to take each one, remove the transfer tape, and again, I always start with conditioner because it's the longest word and I want to make sure it's going to fit exactly the way I want. I mean, the longest word between shampoo, conditioner, and body wash, between those three. And so I'm just lining it up, taking a look, and then when I think I've got it right, press it all down, and then we will remove the transfer tape. And then, of course, you just repeat that process on the other two bottles. And I use the bottom of the word conditioner to kind of line up my other two bottles to make sure that they are starting at the bottom in the same place. So they may end in different spots, but they'll always start in the same spot. And these came out so pretty. I loved that sort of textured bronze with the black pumps. And these bottles of mine with these black pumps look good with a lot of different lettering colors, but this is one of my favorites. So let me know what you think of these 4 methods. I love that they're all waterproof. There they are. How gorgeous. And again, everything that you need to complete these projects will be linked in the description box below. And I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one.